Welcome to another exciting episode of Doug's Electronic Repair Bench.
Afternoon, YouTube. I'm back on this again. What I have here is the last one I did the experiment, the one that you saw it putting out a 234 megahertz frequency signal. What I've decided to do is to basically rebuild my tank circuit. This time, instead of relying on the marked values of the capacitors, I will be using my little thick, whatever that name of that is, a Chinese LC meter, to get a more accurate reading on the coil and the capacitors, and try to get this in within the frequency that it needs to be. And that's my first plan. I have other plans if that doesn't work, but I'm hoping that will at least get me in the ballpark enough to where I can see how well this does work, or doesn't work, I should say. So I got my soldering iron heating up, and what I plan on doing is removing the coil and the capacitor, and probably doing a little rewiring here. I may move the antenna over here on this side, to keep it out of the way, because I'm going to put my tank circuit in here, and I'll probably move this capacitor here out of the way also. So that's the plan, and I'll bring you back and show you what I've accomplished when I accomplish something. But for now, like I said, that's what I plan to do. So we will see how it works. Alright, back once more. As you can see, I have this whole area here cleaned off, and this is the amplifier section. I'm not going to mess with that right now. I just want to get the oscillator section working first, and once I get it working as it should, then I can concentrate on the other parts. But all of these capacitors that I've checked so far are way off in value, so I'm figuring that's most of my problem is the capacitors. Gonna measure the, gonna wind another coil. I'm gonna measure that and see exactly what, how far, or what it measures, and then I can go from there as far as figuring my capacitors needed to make it resonate at the proper frequency. So that's what I am doing. It's break time, just 2 o'clock right now, so been working on this for, well, over an hour, so I think an hour's plenty to work on this without getting too frustrated. And I'll go back in and look on the computer, see what's going on in there, and we'll join you again once I come back, and so stay tuned. Alright, we're back once more. I have the completed oscillator rebuild done. You can see here the new coil. I measured it 17 microhenries, and I have 150 picofarad cap across it. That should give us roughly 97 megahertz in our output. All this other stuff has been redone, and like I said, this should do it. This should work. Now, like I said, this part here is going to be inactive because I'm not going to put any, signal into it yet. So I want to make sure it works and see what kind of frequency it gives me and things like that before I go any further. So let me get a little measuring device here for the antenna, and I'll get that set up, and we'll come back. Now, obviously I have something wrong. Doesn't seem to be oscillating at all. There's our reading on the frequency counter. Just random stuff. And think you can see I have it connected properly. I think it's proper. I'm going to connect that one thing down the other end and try that. Hang on a second. Alright, well, like I say, it's not oscillating, so time to do a little troubleshooting and find out why. Alright, I've located the problem. I have, we can see here, the coil. There's just one cap in here. The variable's not in here. This is a 150 picofarad here. This is the coil which I had measured. Instead of going up to positive rail, which is what this is up here, I have it going down to the negative rail. So transistor's not even getting any juice. So we'll have to reverse that, and I think I'm going to take a break and come back to it. I'm getting this close. I don't want to mess it up, so I will come back to it, and we'll be right back. Alright, we have everything hooked up correctly this time, I do believe. The reason I do believe that is because if we look up here, we can see that we are oscillating at 194 megahertz. Again, that's not nowhere near where it's supposed to be, but hey, it's working. I'm not really sure what the problem is. I checked everything in the calculator. I measured the coil with the LC meter according to, and I also measured the cap across there. Everything was copacetic, and according to the calculator that I used, should be 97 megahertz. Now 97, I was going to say it's roughly, that's basically twice 97 is 194. Now I'm wondering if maybe this is an, what do you call it? For a harmonic. Wouldn't that be something? Anyway. I think what I need to do is put a little audio through it and see what happens, and see if we can get it to come out the radio end. Again, at that frequency, 97 should be where we tune to. So let's try it and see. It's a little difficult to pick out there, but it is playing through the phone. Try to increase the we're at 94.8 on the dial. Let me put this on so I'll tune in a bit. Alright, well it's too crowded in that segment there where it was located, so I can't get a good clear signal in there. Like I said, I don't really understand why it's coming in where it comes in and stuff like that, but I did all the calculations, and you know, I thought it was darn pretty close to 97 is what it was supposed to be, but you know, that's why they call it experimenting, as Robert said. So that's another failure on my part. There's no sense in trying to adjust the coil. The coil is, you know, you might get up to 5 megahertz out of the coil by adjusting it, but the capacitor is the thing that needs to be changed, and I guess we'll experiment a little bit with that and see what happens. But for now, this is gonna end this one, and we're gonna put it up on the YouTube. You guys know me well enough to know I document my failures as well as my successes. And this is 2 failures in a row, but at least it does work, which is, you know, pretty good, I guess. So I did get a lot of this cleaned up, and it's looking a lot better as far as the way it is. Now I think it'll be a lot easier to change frequency with just a capacitor. Also, I have another little dilemma here. Let me go into that real quick. The LC meter that I bought, now this is kind of addressed at Old 64 Goat. I was curious to see, and Lucky Larry also, that has this particular meter. It's not reading correct. I'm pretty darn sure. For one thing, you put it on. I'll give you an example right here. Let me put it onto the. Hang on a second. All right, there we go. There is absolutely nothing connected to that. It's not touching anything. This is the reading I get, and this is on the 2000 picofarad range. So, is this normal for you guys? Also, I noticed, I thought my little disc caps that I bought, which were marked all the various codes and everything, thought they were way off when I started measuring with this, but it turns out that I measured them with my DMM, which also measures capacitance, and they're right on according to it. So I'm looking at the China meter with a jaundiced eye, I guess. I just don't think it's as accurate as one might think. So, you know, I would tend to trust this, well, more name brand. It's not a perfect name brand, Velleman, you know, but it is more of a name brand than so anyway, these, like I said, not all the caps measure perfect, but I mean they're closer, much closer to their marked values on this. Some of them were right on actually, but most of them were within normal 10% tolerance. So I'm going to say that they're right, and that meter's wrong. So looks like I'm going to be looking for another new meter. I think I'm getting a little fed up with the whole thing, because it made me wonder about the inductance, if it was wrong too, because that would throw my whole thing off. And you know, now that I've tried to put it in here and see what it does, it leads me to believe that it was off on that also. So I'm having a little bit of a problem with that, so need to get that addressed. And so that's something I'm going to be looking at. I need to get the I got a 220 picofarad capacitor I need to install in that Vectronics. I need to do that next and get off this stuff for a while, because it's number one, it's frustrating when it does stuff like this. And you know, even if it did work, what would I have? I don't know that it's useful at all. So you know, it's just something to play with. But I played with it now. I think I'm going to put it up, go back to work like I'm supposed to. So this is a Saturday, so you know, I didn't have to worry about it too much. So I want to mention that Wally put up a very good flapping video. It's coming around pretty good. Of course, like I was telling him, Bill's the king, Old 64 Goat. He's the one that got me started flapping. You know, I always did the vlogs, but as far as calling them flapping videos, and you know, he's the one that got me started doing that. So, all right, you guys have a great evening. It's oh yeah, it's dark. Why is it dark? Well, it's dark because it's almost 9 o'clock. So I've been playing around with this all day, off and on. So you guys have a great evening. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you.